notepad file, it doesn't save.
I have yet to find a perfect note system. I switched to Evernote, but it's deleted very crucial notes several times.
Yeah, what is that?
I
I've
don't.
never had this.
Nothing's good. Nothing's
No,
perfect.
I use Simple Note.
And is it reliable? Because the main thing I care about is reliability. Like it's always
Uh,
accessible and it
yeah,
never fucks up.
it it seems to be, yeah. I have had one issue when I went and did a bunch of formatting shit because like it's just I like formatting, like I don't know
Uh-huh.
why, like drawing a bunch of horizontal lines, and I did a
Right.
bunch of work and it didn't save, but I think it's because I literally changed all of them and my internet was being weird. But it's for the most part reliable. Uh, we'll see. I wanted to have a hard copy of it, but I'm switching it over right now.
All right. Stream is live.
Can you send me the most recent?
Yeah. Patrons only. Patreon post is live.
And what were we on? 33?
Yep. 3-3. That's a big 10-4, buddy.
10-4. Doing it. Oh. Close that. Open that. Open that. Oop.
And if you clicked on the link, does it go to the right place? Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Now I gotta go to the stream and turn the volume off, my bros.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Discord. Okay, can you post in the Discord per usual?
Got it.
I'm sending you the script. Give some people time to log on. Where is it? I just keep it on the desktop, right? Because we're constantly working on it. Yeah.
I'm
Oh
gonna
no,
put it
that's
in the
right.
force of nature just so everyone realizes.
Put what in the what? Oh, you mean Discord wise?
Discord wise, yeah. I usually put it in general, but just so people know that exists. Okay. I don't need to do Discord. That can minimize. That's open.
Okay, Patreon's up, Twitter's tweeted, Discord's posted. We can get started.
Okay, let me just retweet you.
Artemi.
Yeah,
Don't
damn, I
forget to
lost my.
smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it. Hi, Liam
Smash
God.
it.
So people can comment, so we're good.
All right, good. Retweet.
Retweeted.
Retweeted. All
Oi,
right.
Liam.
Shit.
Hello.
Hello. I didn't. Uh. Okay.
You didn't.
I'm.
Oh, what?
I didn't. Well, I lost. How many?
I lost my ability to write.
Shut up.
I dropped my peppers.
Shut up. I'm just saving. Uh. Yeah. Replace that version.
It's always a safe bet someone named Liam is British, so I went for it.
Oi.
Oi. Yeah, that is British. Oi.
Oi.
Our
I'm trying.
footballers won the scrum. Oi.
Did they win the
Did
scrum?
they win the scrum? That's a rugby thing, actually, I
Yeah.
think.
Lost his teeth. I just want to get FEMA 11 and 12 updated in my FEMA account.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready to embark upon this adventure called writing.
Mm-hmm. Really taking time. In interrogation scene, lost teeth in interrogation scene. And then 12. Does anything else happen to 12?
Ahem.
Uses walkie tos.
Well, pardon. Well, Abe is updating. I'll just welcome the 4 people watching, and say that we're right around the midpoint of this script. It's an action with light comedic elements, but mostly a straightforward action thing about a group of ne'er-do-wells taking everyone hostage during a hurricane at the shelter and trying to intercept the relief funds intended for the victims of the hurricane. And our hero is basically John McClane, but ours is named Kyle Andaman. And he's already undergone hardship, and now he's like in the winds, basically skulking around Nakatomi Towers, trying to kill Hans Gruber. And Hans Gruber's trying to kill him. You ready yet?
Yeah, go to 30. There I see a lithe man line. Just while I'm finishing.
30. Yep.
30. 12. Did you want to readdress the flashbang stuff or no?
If you checked out Brownbird's very excellent analysis in the Discord channel, Force of Nature channel, which any Small Beans member is welcome to go hang out in or give us feedback on, it would be much appreciated. I think he basically, and he's military, and he gave a pretty good defense of why, like, he would buy it as a dude who's who's had military service in his past and watches movies. So that's good enough for me.
The only one that I saw was that if he was in a tunnel and the flashbangs went off, he would be deaf.
Which we...
Or pass out.
Well, sometimes I do think it's okay to imbue your action hero with superhuman fortitude.
Figured.
So I could see him barely not passing out and just chalking it up to like stamina and luck, you know, who happen to be just far enough away or whatever. I do think he should be deaf for a period of time. In fact, if you follow me now, we're about to go into the sequence where he uses Morse code, and he doesn't, and he gets snuck up on by some guys. So you're like, oh shit, he's totally unprepared, and then it turned out he already prepared off camera because he's that prepared. So if he were deaf for the whole skybox sequence, I actually think it would improve the sequence. Like, it just heightens everything. Like, if, I don't know, do they mean permanently deaf for the rest of his life? Because I think he could be deaf for about 15 minutes.
I got the vibe that you would, once you get to like 140 decibels, you physically pass out. I don't know if you would rupture a eardrum, quite possibly, but maybe not. I know that airplane flying over your head, like a 747, is 120.
Right.
The logarithmic scale, so 130 and 140 are like the difference between
10 times and 10 times again.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I don't know. It's one of those things that at the end of, I like thinking about it, but at the end of the day, like, crazier things in movies happen.
Yeah, I'm saying, when you step back, don't you know from watching action movies, like, we would get away with it. No one would think twice. Especially if he was deaf for a whole sequence after that, but then it went away. I think people would be like, wow, they went out of their way to have him be deaf for a while. Right. That's realistic.
One of my favorite examples of that trope being protean and nebulous in terms of like the audience's perception is not just only how we perceive how loud guns are, But in the zeitgeist, it is both a trope that guns can be silenced to the extent that someone in like a room two rooms near can't hear it.
Right.
Yet when you shoot a gun at someone's ear, they suddenly get Saving Private Ryan shell shock.
Right.
So like it on both sides of the spectrum, like the loudest and the non-loudest are still very available tropes.
Dude,
that everyone
there was
buys.
like a Bourne or a James Bond movie where they wrap the shower curtain quickly around the barrel of the gun and shoot someone who's in the bathtub, and it's like,
or yeah,
thoop, and you're like, no fucking way, man. There's no way. It's like two tiny little droplets.
But you know what I mean about how it's on both sides of the spectrum.
Liam backed up my logic.
On both sides of the spectrum shows that anyone can get mad at either one. Mm-hmm. Like we can both on any given day be like, that's so bullshit, but we buy it either way, and it's
especially
fine.
Because there's a shared lexicon now. Like if it's this type of movie,
mm-hmm.
like what are you gonna do? Go back and say all the movies that led up to this are invalid because that's not how guns work? It's just fun to talk about, but I don't think it actually ruins movies unless you're super egregious with it.
Yeah.
But I do think keeping him dead for the skybox sequence would actually be cool.
My thought is to constantly think about ways in which we can fuck up Kyle.
Well,
like, to me, it's the best. But he wouldn't do it to himself. That feels a little wrong.
He didn't do it to himself. What do you mean?
Yeah, but like he would find it, like he would run away. Like I might be making it more like I don't know. I'm trying to think of if Kyle, like how would Kyle deal with this situation? Because right now we're just looking for like the cool shot, right? As the flashbangs go off behind him, Kyle knocks the nearest thug out with a swing of the...
Yeah, in a realistic way for him to resourcefully get out of a tough situation, which is the basic unit of action movies, you know.
Just run, yeah.
He can't go. He's trapped in a tunnel. There's only one way to go, and there's dudes with guns
aimed right at that
entrance, but he makes it out anyway.
It might be worth it to have him recoil. Just a line that says as flanks go off behind him, like Kyle recoils from the sound, gathers himself and knocks out the nearest thug with the swing of the extinguisher or something like that. What do you think? That's 30. I know I'm 31. I'm going back, but it's because I'm ready for, once we do that, address that, I'm ready to go to 33. What are the FEMAs in here? FEMA 10. And FEMA 11 shouldn't be a FEMA 11. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Just remember the bottom 25%. Mm-hmm. I can't see, but I think you do a good job of it. Just slows us down is all. Okay.
But
you happy with that?
Yeah, but I don't know if we should cover this sequence in the traditional way where you just read it, because I have structural issues with it, and then you were worried about the believability of the skybox's existence at all, right? Do you want to talk about that?
It's probably a good thing to talk about. Here, let me send you a link right now, and you can start to see. So I think that if you look at what's available, and this isn't doing production work, this is more of just like, what are the things that we say in a college, athletic center or college, come on, Google, a college stadium complex, or like what those look like. What are the best ones? Because they're not private companies. I guess some of them can be, but I just did it. I looked for all the college stadiums with a dome.
Doesn't matter whether they're private or public. What is that? Or you just
they invest money invest money on like a,
But I mean, for the purposes of our movie.
I mean, USC, which is a private institution, gets money from the NFL to play at the Coliseum. They also do things like the Rose Bowl and stuff like that.
Right.
Versus a UC, which I can get angel investors.
Carrier Dome in Syracuse looks like it would work. I mean, they have boxes at the top row.
They don't have Sky Dome or Sky.
They're not luxury boxes, but
no, I don't think
we could lie and say that our stadium does have one.
Yeah.
For the mayor or whatever.
I think it's fine. The problem is that just they couldn't shoot that. I'm thinking that too ahead, but I just want, the reason I crafted this is because I wanted to give you like, what do you think of when you were writing it? I thought was a valuable thing.
Well, look at the picture of the Dakota Dome.
Mm-hmm.
Those boxes, they're not luxury boxes, but there are boxes at the top row where the scene could play out. Then the only problem is no one would die from falling from that height, obviously.
Right.
But we just make ours a fictional hybrid of multiple ones.
That's the other thing is you can accomplish quite a bit with CG by just painting out a wall and replacing it with glass and then shooting on a soundstage for the actual, but you see how many.
Thinking of terms and really where would it practically be shot? Man, I don't even care about that yet.
I don't really care about it, but I like to see, like, because this script right now is married to a small town dome, I realized, wow, there's probably only 12 of those on the planet.
Right.
Or
at least in America.
So, to keep costs down, that's probably where they think about shooting if a producer were to get on board. I just like to think ahead a few steps like that, whether or not
I think you could shoot at a real place with glass dome and matte in a single skybox, because you're like, fuck it, this one has one skybox, because
many ways to the movie. Many ways to skin this. I'm just saying, those are the images I wanted to send them to you because I did the research, but it's not helping us now. But that does, I do think that we are fine with the skybox stuff and the falling out of the skybox stuff.
Okay, cool.
What are your structural concerns?
I think it goes back and forth one beat too many, and when they're figuring out how Morse code works. And I think I pitched this to you when we first went through this section months ago, but I also think it would be more effective to just have it be like the little story of the kids saving the day. I didn't think we gained a lot of comedic ground, and I didn't think it was worth what we gained to have the kids see, and then I think Del see the kid and then tell Maureen, and then all together they communally, I get how that hits on the theme, but I feel like we already have major scenes that are the end of their arcs that show Marlene contributed, Del contributed, Fox contributed. I would just have this sequence be, this is how the kids contributed.
Okay, so what does that itemize that for me a little bit more? Do you think that Marlene or Del should know and be wise to its? I thought there's some comedic stuff out of that's Morse code, because movies have told us when pulses and dots happen, everyone goes, that's Morse code. Never in a movie are we told by someone who recognizes Morse code, and then it's like, what does it say? Oh, I don't know what Morse code is. I just I don't understand the language. I just know that looks like Morse code. And I thought that was a little bit fresh. So I like the idea that Del and Marlene, who are set up with the expectation that they will figure this out, because that's what Kyle thinks. Kyle starts with them and is like, I'm going to shine light in your guys' eyes because you guys are in positions of helping, because people already respect you and will listen to you, yada, yada, yada. But then it's these random kids who one of the girl is a Girl Scout, and she's like, I actually know some Morse code, and this is what that is, because I'm smart.
So I think we should be with the kids as much as possible to sort of give it Jurassic Park Velociraptor kitchen scene sequence
Right.
feel, where it's like, for a minute we are just following the least powerful people in the group, and I thought it could be that the brother. I think we can still save that bit and just have it happen among the kids. Like he tries to get Marlene's attention, but the brother notices, so he realizes, all right, I got to use this kid. And we see the kid taking down the dots and dashes and assume, oh, he knows Morse code. Then we have that joke where we realize, oh, he doesn't know Morse code. He just realizes that it is Morse code. So then he has to go on a subsequent adventure to sneak over to where his sister is, because he knows she's a Girl Scout, and say, translate this, and then he gets it to Marlene. That's my pick.
I think that is great. The only question I have, or what's the writing solution, it could also be a plant and payoff that we put in a previous scene. How do you get me from Kyle being like, okay, I'm going to use my mirror and reflect light into someone's eyes, going specifically for Raleigh, who's the boy?
You already have that, because Raleigh notices. I think that's already how it goes.
No, yeah, the way it works is that he notices that
it's not Marlene.
He notices that Kyle's doing it to someone, and they're like ignoring it, and he's like, I think that guy's doing Morse code. But how does Kyle look over and see, like, what distracts Kyle to Raleigh to be like, oh, this is where the real shit's gonna happen, I should just address this kid is the only one who's looking at me? Do we just have him randomly notice?
Don't you
Raleigh like use his arms and
get I'd rather have there be a reason. I agree.
Me
but
too.
I thought maybe I'm confused, but I thought you had that already. Like, I thought Kyle's focus did shift to the kids at some point.
It does, but
so how? Like, did you accomplish it already? I just don't remember.
I think he goes out to he tries to go past the no man's zone.
No, it's that he throws a card at Marlene's leg so that she notices. So the Kyle
that's
the kids. The kids make Marlene notice Kyle.
Right.
So I would prefer to just keep it with the kids, or have the kid try to get Marlene's attention and can't before he decides, I guess I gotta solve this problem myself. But you're right that Kyle wouldn't begin signaling his message till he had Marlene's attention. So the kid can't just look at the side of Marlene's head and do it that way. Right? Also, it'd be too hard to tell when it's in your eye or not. So the kid also needs a way to make visual contact with Kyle.
Right.
And what is Kyle doing it with? A mirror? A laser pointer?
I just thought it could be. I think it's a he somewhere off screen he ripped off a rearview mirror from one of those golf carts. I'm going to.
You could even have a laser pointer, but maybe that's too convenient.
Right.
There would be laser pointers in a stadium, but whatever.
I just like resourcefulness, so.
Yeah.
So maybe what I should do is I should write down what we accomplish in each scene that I've done, because I've never actually done that. I just said by the end of the scene I want this done, and then I plan and pay off in my head. But this way we can itemize more specifically what needs to go from each scene or what needs to move. Because in 33 we get FEMA.
Do you want to read, now that we're we vaguely understand what we think we're going to do, do you want to read 33 and then talk about it?
Sure. In the back of your head, if you don't mind, if you can, while I'm doing this, anytime it says FEMA 10, put it at FEMA 6. Or FEMA 4, FEMA 6, or FEMA 7. It doesn't matter. Actually, FEMA 4 would be the good one.
Got it.
Because he's never been in a fight. But he was the guy who was no entry here when Kyle was trying to eavesdrop on ops. So FEMA 4 will be FEMA 10. And then I'll read. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Marlene watches as FEMA 10. I'll just say what is read because I won't be able to keep my head. Watches on as
Well, if you're
FEMA
on
10.
okay, whatever.
I'm not on this. I'm have to read
Sure.
from mine because I can't.
You'd
Yeah.
rather scroll whenever you want. I got it.
Yeah. Watches as FEMA 6 takes a backpack from a 12-year-old kid, Raleigh, who shouts, Raleigh, no, please don't. My sister's inhaler's in there. The guard dumps out the contents of the bag: notebooks, a portable gaming device, a pair of keys, bags of chips, and a small plastic box with floral print tumbles out. Raleigh reaches for the box, but FEMA 6 tilts his gun up to stop, or FEMA 4 tilts his gun up to stop him. FEMA 4 bends down to pick up the box. Raleigh, that's it right there. FEMA 4 opens the box to see an inhaler, some backup cartridges, along with some neatly ordered cards of anime characters and small doodles of a 6-year-old. FEMA 4 examines the inhaler, throws it to Raleigh, and stuffs it all back into the backpack. Raleigh, thanks. FEMA 4, all right, this section, here to here, you sit. The group complies. FEMA 4 passes the bag to FEMA, can be
Then
6.
what should that be? 6? Okay.
Or, you know what, 5. 5. Let's make it 5.
Okay.
So, takes Raleigh's, sorry, backpack. Okay. Also doing crowd control. All right. FEMA 4 and FEMA 6 is what I said, right?
4 and 5.
4 and 5. 4 and 5. Okay, so FEMA 4 passes the bag to FEMA 5, who walks down the side of the field and throws it on a pile with the rest of the townspeople's stuff. FEMA 4 moves on to rummage through a nearby woman's clutch as we return to Marlene, who's now joined by Dell. Dell, I don't understand this at all. Do you? What are these guys even thinking? We don't have money. We're all in the middle of a storm. How will this be publicized? I mean, what's the point? Marlene, I don't think we know the whole story, Dell. A 6-year-old girl, Adelaide, walks up to Marlene and hands her a small bottle of pills. Marlene kisses her on the forehead. Marlene, hon, I need you to find Esther. You seen her? Dell, I think she was talking with the Cottons before, but she probably needs to sit at some point. He scans the horizon as townspeople looking for Esther. No good. Marlene, I don't think we can move around. Maybe if we pass it along, we can get her these. Dell grabs the pill bottles and stares in silence for a beat. He starts a lowly sob. Marlene, Dell? Dell, frozen. I mean, I didn't know. But I think I knew. Nobody was calling for me, not for organizing cots or preparing meals. I just assumed they had the whole place under control. I did nothing. Marlene, it's not your fault, Dell. Dell, there's a question. I don't know what it is, but there's a question that I could have asked, just a few words, and I would have been able to prevent this. I could have asked to see their credentials, and when I found out, I could have driven somewhere. Marlene, they have guns. Just then, a small patch of light strikes Marlene's face. She basically dodges it once it hits her eye line. Dell, you don't get it. There's a notebook that dictates protocol. They have to liaise with a local, and a few hours ago, I noticed that they hadn't. I should have known. Marlene, well, we know now. Light returns and hits Dell's eye line. He holds his hand up to block the light. Dell, why can't I see the signs?
Ha ha.
It's jokes.
Well,
he can't see
it's
the
not
light.
even a joke. It's more.
Nah, it's just.
Thing that
Is that too overwrought?
Oh, I want to tone down the line, but I actually think moments like that. I wasn't trying to detract with my ha ha ha. That's good film work. But no, that's stuff like that should happen.
Yeah.
I do think that line could be slightly less indicative, but still, accomplish the same. But anyway, yeah, that reminds me. So our point of this scene that's more important is Dell's moment of doubt.
Yeah, and it comes to light that he is. He knew something was up, but was kind of in his cowardice or in his assumption of how things work, did nothing.
2 pitches. I think we should put a line in from Marlene, probably, unless Dell has the insight himself, that draws the parallel to that's the problem with the way we try to problem solve with climate change. uh, like Marlene say, well, sometimes it's hard to something this bad happening, you just can't imagine it happening, so you kind of live in denial.
Oh yeah, so she addresses the psychological state a little bit more after
Because
he
that's
starts
also
crying.
resonant with our climate change theme. Not that she's
Mhm.
calling attention to that. It just is if you
But
think
she's just
about it.
saying like it's
She's
true
talking
about
about the
humans.
terrorist situation, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of behavior, you're not thinking straight when the stakes are really
Like
high.
you're a small town mayor, you didn't prepare for a massive terrorist takeover during a hurricane because who
Hmm.
would have thought something that horrible would happen so suddenly? Like,
Yeah,
you
I
don't
like
want to
that.
believe that. And then I also think he should mention Kyle. Like I think he should at the end of one of those lines go like, Kyle said, he said, and I just, and she like cuts him off or something.
I really like the way you put it, where it's like you're a small town mayor. You're not. I don't know exactly what you said, but you're like you're a
Right,
small
like
town
who could
mayor. It's
expect
not
you to
your
prepare
fault
for
that.
this? And he's like,
Yeah.
right, but I still could have been, and like it would have been
Right.
good.
Right. But I
uh,
mean, who else will do it? Is kind of a
exactly.
question. Is how I would think about it if I was like someone of a government position. Like, no, I was supposed to do something and I didn't. You're not getting it, you know. But
So my question is just traditional screenplay textbook stuff.
mhm.
Should we find a way for Dell to have a binary switch in this scene? You know what I mean? Like, because he's
Yeah,
basically starting in doubt, and then by the end, his doubt is deepened. Should we start it with him not in doubt? Like, that seems weird, but, like, I don't know. Would it make more screenplay logic if
right.
at the start of the scene he's actually being kind of smug, and then Marlene has to remind him that he fucked up, and then he drops his facade and breaks down?
I mean, if you want my honest opinion about like
Those
the
rules.
architecture of those rules, I kind of usually don't like them, even though I understand why they're there. Because I feel like, especially in this, especially, I mean, this is just like, do you want it to just be an action movie? I really like about this that our statement isn't that like bad guys be bad, good guys be good. It's that the level of incompetence is hard to see, and that's just all it's really trying to acknowledge. Like even the end of the film doesn't have like an ending that is classic, because it's like our we leave our protagonists feeling like he didn't do anything at all, or feeling like he did something even worse and caused the death of many. And to me, that ambiguity and that lack of moral consistency is something where I wouldn't need to have that binary switch. Because I think in the early scene, we just see him as a guy who's just doing his job. And so we don't have intentionally make him bad at his job or anything. We just have a guy who's bad at his job. And then Dell later realizes that he thought he was fine, but he actually was doing a bad job. That
Right,
to
because
me,
really, if you tie the sequences together, it obviously, because his arc does follow screenplay logic, which is he starts
mhm.
thinking, I got this. Beat two, we check in with him, and he goes, I was wrong. I didn't got this. Beat
And
three,
then at
he
3,
heroically
he got this.
sacrifices himself in order to redeem that a cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
So
mean, yeah. I
I don't
agree.
need
It's like a beginning writing rule to make you question should this scene exist,
every
but
scene.
this
Yeah,
scene actually has multiple reasons to exist. It's advancing the action, it's introducing the kids, and Dell's
and it's
doing
planting the next step.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dell's doing basically beat B of his 3 beat arc. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
convinced.
definitely a nebulous scene, not traditional, but I feel like we're seeing a lot more of those in movies these days.
Oh, I agree. I think about it all the time when I watch movies where you're like, that
Mhm.
scene was just a linking scene. It was just the character traveling from one location to another with like a thoughtful voiceover. That
Yeah.
breaks multiple rules in terms of textbook screenwriting of
Mhm.
you should have cut that scene or whatever.
Right, right.
So, whatever.
Yeah. I still defend this one, but yeah.
Okay. So, that convinces me. Let me implement the changes we talked about, and then can we do a polish pass line by line? Or
Yeah.
just like light tweaks and stuff?
Yeah.
So the things we said were if it's okay with you, I'd like him to mention. And Kyle said, like Kyle told me,
Yeah, I like that too, because then it makes it like he's culpable. People saw him in his incompetence.
yeah.
Specifically Kyle, who's, someone we care about. Yay!
Okay, I gave it a shot. Check the stream.
Okay.
And we could polish it further when we go back over it in a minute. But
could have driven somewhere. Kyle tried to tell me. He said he told me, and yeah. I like that. I like Del having like these broken, orphaned sentences, because I think it's more realistic to how someone breaks down.
I also think we should add that for Marlene in this case.
Did you want this to be the space where Marlene says, or are you doing it? I can't tell. You're small town mayor. You couldn't have.
I said it in a different way, but I said it's hard to prepare for the unthinkable. Do you know, like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see that now. Yeah, it just used to be they have guns.
And then I gave her a little sum up line after the block.
What is that?
Pop into existence yet?
It's obscured by the crop at the bottom. It just says Marlene right now. Yeah, okay. Besides, he told me to. It just caught up. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Let's
line by line?
Yeah, you don't have to read if you don't want. Tell me if you have any changes, but you wrote it, so it'll probably be mostly me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I like Raleigh's first line. I like the blocks under that. That's it right there. Just needs a continued. Oh, I'm gonna lobby for, or at least I think we should talk about the names. I like Raleigh and Adelaide, but I thought for some reason Esther was one step too far for me. Of like, we're trying to ease off making it like a Southern community, and I think Esther draws me back to that in a way I don't like. Also, it's gonna sound really weird, but they're looking for. They're like. Esther was talking with the Cottons, and it just makes me think of polyester and cotton. I don't know for some reason.
Yeah, I
just want to switch the name Esther for anything.
Yeah. Switch it out. It can be anything. Okay. I just thought of it as it makes you think of an old woman who needs her pills.
It does, yeah. But I could go like Eustace or anything, yeah.
Although yeah, it could also be Mary,
yeah. Well, because Marlene. Anyway.
Yeah, I went pretty heavy on the Southern names, but I like unique names.
Because we've said it so much, I want to pitch FEMA 4 saying stay in your numbered sections because we haven't heard that refrain in a while. And that's sets up the rules so that we know that he's not supposed to be moving around.
That's so funny. The other thing is if you wanted to do in terms of jokes, consistency with what we've done with the FEMA guys. Remember when we were playing the game at the beginning where we had this game of thank you for your service kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
FEMA 5 is like the Humpty Dumpty who, he's the guy who just says it at kind of the wrong times and is clearly a dumb guy. If you wanted to make that joke, that's FEMA 5. FEMA 4 was also there for that stuff. So it's very clear that FEMA 4 and 5, in terms of the totem pole of bad guys, that they've been sticking around the townspeople
They're the
and have just
babysitters. Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the logistics and yeah.
Well, when he set up this team, there were probably like he splurged on like 5 guys he actually thinks are good and have combat experience,
Yeah, there's
and then
the
he got
Navy.
a bunch of dudes that he considers
Yeah.
babysitters to babysit the crowd with a gun.
Yeah, who know how to use a gun,
Yeah.
basically.
I am for there being a joke there. My gut tells me that the "thank you for your service" literally though that sequence of words is out of steam as a joke, but
Oh no, I'm not saying use that. I'm just saying
I'm
he's
saying
that.
yes, something like that right now. Yeah. What
I mean,
about?
staying in your numbered sections is fine.
Well, that's for 4. You made me think of a little beat. Maybe townsperson says, "I never got a number," and FEMA 5 says, "Shut the fuck up," just something like that.
I like
Or
that.
over there, over there. Okay, whatever.
Like they're not even good at their own logistics because at the end of the day, no one is. Yeah, they're not actually getting
chaos.
beds. Yeah.
Right, everything's already deteriorating. It's not, and they're just trying to hold it together for a couple hours. They keep hoping this will be over soon.
Right, which makes me think of like, with the second that someone takes out a gun in a room, it's like, why is there going to be any pretense of like organizational discussion at all? Someone has a gun, and if they really want to, at any time they can be like, "No, look, we're doing it this way because I have the gun."
Yeah.
But sometimes people who have the gun feel the need to like be nice, so they're like, "I'm not a monster," which is kind of like a weird thing that happens in life. Is that people want to they do something horrible, but they still want to be likable, so they act funny about it, or they act like it's you still have power even though they're literally taking your power away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a man of the people is like the political equivalent of that. So I could see something like that. Or like within your interaction, I guess I would just lobby for another line that would be like, but that doesn't, like the other, whatever he says to one of the townspeople, the person says, but that doesn't make sense. And he goes, look, and he just like holds up the gun or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't need it too. I was just thinking out loud.
I'm trying to think of what exactly the wording is. I like it. I could see that beat being something like I don't know, in Deadpool 2 it really got me when the Juggernaut just said, "I am going to rip you in half now," and then
right, yeah, just absolute.
Or like when Lump says, "I don't play the sec," but
right.
So
sometimes
FEMA 5 goes, "Shut the hell up," and FEMA 4 says like, "Now we're going to loot your things," like, because what they do next is start looting, right? Essentially. Because I like the contrast of like they're acting like they're official in some way. They are hearkening to, we are kind of like FEMA. We set up numbered sections, and then they're now rob this lady's purse.
All right, what do you think about? All right, now give me your stuff.
Shut the hell up.
Like to another person, like because he's moving on. You know, like he's grabbing multiple. All right, give me your stuff.
Yeah.
It's the Jerry Potter joke. All right, well, give me your wallet.
Image through more of the town's people's. So that's what I would think. What do you think? Let the stream catch you.
Too nearby a woman. All right, give me your stuff. Yeah. They're just robbing people. Well, they're not even would we ever want to take it so far as that like they're just like, while we're here though, I know like boss.
Yeah, they're looting.
They're looting.
Your implication is they're making a pile of bags and looting them.
Yeah, it kind of was. I was keeping that open. I thought that the impetus that they want you to think is that they are making sure that no one has like guns and stuff.
No, like they're checking. In fact, I think we should add to that block other FEMA workers gather around and they squabble over valuables.
Yeah, I
Because I
think that that's
I think it should be more the vibe of like hyenas
right.
milling around a corpse.
I agree. I think
Right.
what's the perfect version of it is like hyenas dressed like lions, walking around acting, or like I just really like the setup that they are still holding together the attachment that they're kind of like FEMA or they're organized to somewhat, but the reality is that it's just an absolute free for all,
Yeah.
and they have power right now. Because
I'm adding a block at the top of the scene.
Yeah,
I'm
seeing it.
Just to make the seam more, because this is a seam between two of our sequences, so I think it needs more of a transition line to imply a master shot, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's so incredibly straightforward. I realize relooking over our divvying up of the scenes initially, there's almost none of our scenes have like interweaving, and I don't think I need it for this movie.
Some of us took, because we took whole sequences. I have 2 sequences I can think of where the scenes are completely interwoven.
Yeah,
it's just not interwoven sequence to sequence. There's no usual suspects quality or anything like that.
Right.
No.
There's nothing like that. Yeah.
Or even an Ocean's 11 quality. Or
just
anything.
a straight up chronological.
Mostly time starts and goes forward from the beginning of the movie to the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that worked for 24. I don't know.
No, it works for Die Hard.
It worked for Die Hard. Better. Okay, and as I said, because I am more of the prose guy between the two of us, I will go through and really meticulously, when we're all done here, with a different pass where I just touch across the pages, and all I do is make all the verbs like really good verbs, and all the action in present tense, and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Like he doesn't bend to pick up the box; he kneels, looking at God.
No, I'm not saying more fancy is always better, but evocative is always better than. My point is, when you said it's so straightforward, I thought you were referencing how boring the across the page is, and I'm saying,
no.
I am gonna go back and jazz up all the.
Yeah, you jazz it up. I trust you. Yeah. I trust you. Yeah. That'll be a different pass. I just want fancier. I just need a fancy screenplay.
Replaced with fancier words.
When I'm handing this screenplay out to people at bars, I want them to be like, "Damn, this is fancy."
All right, let's see if I can do this. Okay, see where the block starts. The group complies. I'm gonna do this on the fly. All right. The conflagration of bystanders acquiesces to their demands. He makes free with the attaché of a nearby trollop. FEMA 4 transports her valise.
FEMA the 4th.
FEMA the 4th transports her valise in conjunction with Raleigh's Jansport to FEMA the 5th, who perambulates to the border of the. All right, let's get back to work.
The perambulators.
How about the perambulists? All right, cool. Give me your stuff. They're looting. We return to Marlene, who is now joined by Del. Can I add they speak in hushed voices?
Yeah, because they know what they're doing.
Because I just think it's worth mentioning. I'm saying this at all to you. What are these guys even thinking? I would like to change. We don't have money to. People don't bring money to a shelter.
Yeah, works for me.
Or even folks, if that seems more colloquial.
So it's people don't bring money to a shelter, or folks don't bring money to a shelter?
Yeah.
Either, to me. Sometimes I actually do have beliefs on when it says people or folks.
Right.
But this one, no.
Okay. I'm not totally clear on what he means by how will this be publicized, because you don't mean to imply that he still thinks they're real FEMA people, right?
I think he's saying, like, he's under the belief that, because as if he takes Ops at his word, the assumption is that they're trying to make like a protest.
Although we eliminated that
as terrorists.
speech.
Yeah, we
That
eliminated
speech
that
was going to
now.
be reincorporated elsewhere later.
Well, I mean, we still have the one where he's like, I'm a part of a
He
group
says we're
that
Robin
believes the
Hood.
government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it was that. I could lose it, but I just like the idea that we're always seeing, like, so that the audience starts to think of like what's their intentions.
Oh, I agree, but I guess I feel like Dell is pretty naive to still believe that at this point.
Really? I don't feel.
Oh, no. I see. He doesn't believe they're FEMA people. He believes that. Right. I see what
that
level of the
they're
deception he's
terrorists
on.
and they're trying to make a statement.
But he
and
takes
so
them at their word.
they want cameras to come up and they want their demands to be heard by the group.
So I just think that could be clear, because technically you
Yes.
could read the line, how will this be publicized, to think, does he still think they're from the government? And he's worried about like the news cycle about this. So we're in the middle of a storm. Let's see. What about victimizing people in the middle of the storm? What point does that prove?
I mean, yeah, like
or looting people. How does that prove your point? Yeah, same noise. Folks don't bring. What are these guys even thinking? Folks don't bring money to a shelter. And they think this is gonna help. No.
What's the most important aspect of what he's trying to say there? Like, what's the sentence? The best case scenario. What does it say? Be as long-winded as you think, or as you want.
I guess I'd ask you. You wrote the line.
I think the most important part is that he doesn't understand how they think this will do what they said, what Ops said that they're here for.
Yeah.
So he's starting to pick at the scab of like, this doesn't hold water, the thing he said. It's not yet that.
How does any of this help the victims of climate change? Is too academic, but how does any of this help wildfire victims? They're looting us.
I think I think the looting is actually better without acknowledging it. Like, I really like how it's just kind of like thrown in across the page.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that is as important. And I would say that the climate change stuff should also just be kind of gleaned. The one part of this line that I really like is that he's focusing on the logistics of we're in the middle of a storm. Like how staging a protest in the middle of a natural disaster is like an idiotic.
But it is beyond a protest. Like, I think you would identify it as terrorism.
Right. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I just feel like he would focus on the fact that like this is the worst stage. If he wanted a stage, no one's here to see it. You know, like this is a weird stage to have.
Right. So I still think the best phrasing probably starts with, how does any of this help? Because like, how does any of this help Flint, Michigan? Or how does any of this help people in hurricanes? I don't get it. How does any of this help? That's the phrasing that seems most natural to me.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that works.
Folks don't bring money to a shelter. How does any of this help the people in Puerto Rico. But see, we didn't mention Puerto Rico because we cut that part of the speech. So I'm trying to think of how to end the sentence in a clear way. And I don't want to say, how does any of this help the increasing number of people victimized by
of climate
inclement
change.
weather caused by climate change?
Right. I see where you're going.
How does any of this help?
Let me see if he can pull apart any phrase that we've already heard from Op's speech.
Poor people, the people you claim to help, but you don't help. You just take their money.
Poor people. Where is that? I wish I just could go to where I'm thinking.
Well, you can run a fine on a phrase if you remember a line or anything.
I don't. That's why I'm going there.
I'm also scrolling around.
I'm almost there.
Well, if you get there, tell me the scene number. 18?
Is that it?
Oh, by the way, wait, Raleigh has a splint on his leg. We should remember that in the scene we're currently writing.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because we now have Raleigh playing basketball. It is. Raleigh still has a splint on his leg. We should mention it.
Yeah. Where is it?
Kyle fight scene in the warehouse.
It's after that. It's right after that.
Yeah, I know. First scene with the father. Here we go. Ops manager, let me end the suspense. You've been kidnapped. There's a man here who believes you're not, so we're all going to have a town meeting. Here it is. I represent a group committed to correcting our government, this government that has systematized the lack of support for the disenfranchised and poor and bringing them to account. Where's FEMA? Who's coming to help you? No one. So he streamlined it a lot, and I like that. But he doesn't even make a connection to
right. I like that he's very specifically get vague. Yeah.
And I do think that later when pressed, I still want him to eventually make the connection to inclement weather to set up that ultimately what he's doing is building these luxury bunkers for the super rich.
What do you think about, how is this going to correct the government? How does this help the poor?
Oh, I see. So, make that a payoff of this setup.
Yeah, more just because those are the words that he would cling on to.
How does this help people remember disenfranchised more how does this help the poor and disenfranchised?
Mm-hmm.
Works for me.
Yeah.
So we're not on seed 97, Michael.
Lock it.
Where are we?
Pop
actually? 33?
Yeah,
30. There's some inhalers in there. I don't. Folks don't bring money to a shelter. How does any of this help the, quote, poor and disenfranchised, ? Quote. Marlene, I don't think we know the whole story, Del. Yeah, I have no problem with that. 6-year-old girl Adelaide walks up to Marlene and hands her a small bottle of pills. Marlene kisses on the forehead. Can I add thanks, hon? Instead of just hon?
Yep.
Thanks, you little brat. Now I just have to find not Mabel, not Eustace, not quite that old-fashioned one. Myrna?
Yeah, Irma. Maven.
Irma's okay with me.
Yeah.
Now I just have to find Irma. You seen her? I think she was talking with the Cottons. That's okay now that it's not Esther.
Irma's also the name of the woman in the so that's why
woman in the what?
Lady Killers.
Irma Munson.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't matter. No one's gonna.
It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you. I'm just speaking out loud. That's why I thought of that.
I think it's so weird. I feel like it's gotta mean something that she has the same name as a character in Intolerable Cruelty. It's really weird.
Wait, I thought she didn't. I thought the judge did.
I'm saying. Yeah, the same as the woman from same as the woman from Lady Killers.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
I think there's 2 black judges in both those films that have the same name. But Irma is...
No, the black judge in Intolerable Cruelty has the same character name as the main character, Marva Munson, from Lady Killers.
Oh, really?
Let me confirm.
I thought her name was Irma.
No, it's Marva.
Marva.
Yeah, IMDb trivia. The judge in this film shares the same character name as the main character in the Coen Brothers' next film, The Lady Killers. The shared name is Marva Munson.
Yeah. It's just 2 judges.
No. She's in the second one. She's not a judge.
Miss Marvel. Yeah, she's not a judge.
She's just an old widow lady.
GHD, PhD.
I'm saying I have no fucking idea what it could mean.
Oh, I know why I was thinking that, because the actress's name is Irma Hall.
Irma P. Hall, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I just conflated them together. Anyway,
our character Marlene referencing someone named Irma is fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Let's ignore it.
We'll do it live.
I don't know why I even said it. Yeah.
Before, but I was thinking she was talking before, but she probably needs to sit at some point. Oh, I'm going to go up and add in that Raleigh has a splint. Hold on. Marlene watches on as soon before takes it back from 12-year-old kid. Raleigh. And then in parentheses, I'm going to say the one with the leg splint. That's all.
Cool.
Yeah, important. I don't think this is. Yeah. Thanks, son. I think she was talking with the Cottons before. She need to sit at some point. He scans the horizon, looking for Esther Irma P. Hall. No good. Marlene, I don't think we can. I don't think we can. Can I change move around to? I don't think we can just go over there. I just think it's more natural sounding.
Yeah.
I don't think we can just go over there. Maybe if we pass it along, we can get her to Estelle grabs the pill bottle and stares in silence for a beat. He starts a low sob. I didn't know, but I want to cut this word for. Nobody was calling me. Makes more sense to me. You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Nobody was calling me, not for organizing cots or preparing meals. I just assumed Can I put they in quotes?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't, he's like, I don't know, the government, whatever. Like, I thought the cops would come or whatever needs to happen.
I have this constant,
I want to place the thing also. I thought they had this whole thing under control.
I often leave out, like, parenthetical or syntax stuff, or just, like, things like that, little varnishes of languages that we use, like, quotations, because I'm scared of people reading it the wrong way. There's got to be a name for that. Because I don't want to. I just assume they had this whole thing under control. Like a line reading like that, I would be like, that ruins everything.
Right. I do that with my all caps thing. That's mainly to help comedians hit the right word in punchlines, though.
Right. But you're scared of it.
Well, like in our new family meeting, there's a line. There's Mon Frere, the square, and I was worried Katie wouldn't. I don't know if she would know how to pronounce Mon Frere and that it would rhyme with square. You know what I mean? So in parentheses, I wrote like rhymes with square because I'm paranoid.
Yeah.
There's Mon Frere, the square. It's not your fault, Del. I don't know what it is, but there's a question that I could have asked. Just a few words I could have been. I would have been able to prevent this. I could ask to see your credentials and I'm gonna just add another hyphen to make it consistent. When I found out I could have driven somewhere, Kyle tried to tell me. He said he told me I do think someone in here should say either where are the cops, or we just have to hold out till the cops can get through this, till the authorities can get here. Something like that. Oh, I also wondered if you think it's worthwhile to ever include a scene in the screenplay, somewhere around here probably, where we just cut outside and we show some actual authority coming by because the storm has died down. I don't tell me if you think we need this, but just to shore up logic holes. I was wondering if we should ever cut outside and have a real cop stop and be like, everything okay? And have one of the fake FEMA workers be like, yep, we got it under control, sir, move along. Just to show that they're keeping people out and that people outside aren't wise to it yet.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's a trope we should address because not only is it Die Hard, but like Resident Evil 7 or whatever had that, like, it's like a thing. I'm trying to think of other Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like there's a lot of horror movies and
Where
action
you
movies
stop to
that
be
have
like, why aren't the cops coming? And you have
just
some
for
answer. Yeah.
simple tension build of just like if he just knew and just he just ran to his radio and called it in right now, this would be a completely different situation.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good for tension building.
But I guess I feel like the reason I had that thought is it's springing off the fact that I feel like in this scene, either Marlene or Del should say something like, "And where are the local cops already?" Or let's just hold tight. I'm sure the cops will be here in the next few hours, something like that.
Right. Yeah, I think I like the latter.
Putting on a brave face. So probably Marlene then, because she's trying to buck him up in this scene.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it's okay with you, I'll add it to the end of Marlene's last line. Well, we know now. Let's just try and keep everyone alive until the real cops show up. Yeah, so then Del's final line. I guess it's why all I would want to change is maybe why couldn't I see the signs? Because he's been speaking in past tense, and I think it's clunky otherwise. That works for me. Why couldn't I see the signs? It's not too on the nose. Because I was going to pitch back, I've been so blind, but that's even more on the nose. So
that's even more on the nose because it's specifically they're all C.
He should say, on further reflection, I've finally seen the light.
But it's true that all of our like when we don't get. I'm trying to think of a phrase that is common. That it, like red anytime flags, it's like it's always vision. It's always vision. I didn't see the signs. I was blinded by the light, like
I opened up my eyes and
saw the sign.
Nothing standing without understanding.
But I think it's kind of fine because people,
yeah,
it's like for some reason people don't immediately think eyes, but they will in this case. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know if that's too cheesy or not.
34.
I'm reading again. Pulling up my.
And we're gonna go little bit by little bit. Try and figure out what the goal of each thing is. Yeah.
Yeah. Interior football field, 40-yard line day. Adelaide crawls across the ground through the standing section of townspeople. She sees her brother Raleigh seated in the group FEMA 4 subdued. She slowly crosses the gap of the distance between those seated and FEMA 11 notices. FEMA 6? 5? FEMA 5. Hey! Adelaide freezes. Slowly looks
kid,
to...
Thank you for your service.
Adelaide freezes, slowly looking to FEMA's 5. There's a brief pause, and then he winks at her, takes out some gum, and starts to chew it. He turns the other way. Adelaide finishes her call and plops her head onto her brother Raleigh's lap. He strokes her hair. Nearby, an elderly woman hums a calming song. The small light passes through few people's faces.
So, my pitch would be that I think this is the exact correct beat of how to raise and diffuse the tension when one of the kids has to sneak to the other kid. But I think we should wait for them to do the sneak until it becomes necessary. You know what I mean? Like, I would cut and paste this scene later.
Thing is that it's not Adelaide, it's Raleigh.
And switch it so that Raleigh either signals Adelaide, you got to come over here, or Raleigh goes to Adelaide,
The other thing I could think of is keeping it as a setup for the fact that for some reason this one guard is fine with Adelaide
Because she's a cute little girl.
branching
Like,
because
what's the
she's a cute
harm?
little girl.
Yeah.
So branching, and so when it happens again, somehow make it so that it's Adelaide instead of Raleigh is the only way that I would save it here. But I could also go with your way. I don't know. I kind of like just the image of a little girl and
Yeah,
and
me
a
too.
horrible man with a gun winking at her and
Because
saying like you're fine.
it's like, yes, he's
He's
a
a human.
really bad dude, but in this moment, he is not going to shoot an 8-year-old girl. He's
Yeah,
just a
exactly.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted that just to be like, because that solidifies the fact that it's really between Kyle and Ops.
And
It's
also, I
everyone
like
else
that
is the
our
victim.
thugs are realistically uncoordinated. In most movies, the thugs
Yeah.
all have perfect logic, but like they all act exactly the same in all situations. And I
Yeah.
like that ours are like a shade more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Because our villain, our antagonist is already so fucking insanely like one of the worst villains in the history of villains, you know, like he's a mass
I
murderer.
guess Titus Andronicus.
Yeah, I mean like
Star.
but I mean his in terms of like I don't know, he's just straight up offing people.
Oh yeah.
His character, not meaning his actions and deeds, I mean his character, like his disposition is so fucking ruthless that I'm fine. I like that his FEMA people are just like, I'm just working for this dude. Because that's how climate change is denied.
So what I would say is that it's still Adelaide, but
You still have it later.
I would have Raleigh do the card thing. So like I think Raleigh could realize Morse code is happening, try to get Marlene's attention with the cards. She's too far away to hit with the cards, and like a guard looks at him suspiciously, so he has to stop doing that. So instead he takes down the Morse code message, and then he throws a card at Adelaide, who's closer, and gets her to come over.
I like that. The only thing you don't get is like the brotherly kind of brother sister love of them like talking, because if they're not immediately next to each other, there's a dialogue later about like Morse code stuff.
Yeah, I think we could still have that.
Oh, okay.
Because I think she wouldn't take it as serious. He'd be like, "Do you know Morse code?" And she could be like, "Yeah, cute character line about blah 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 Girl Scouts," and he'd be like, "No, this is important." Or like, I can still think that they could have a little chat before he actually gets her to appreciate the seriousness of the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just thought you were trying to limit their geography from each other, but if that's
No, I
not
think
true,
once they get together, we can have them talk.
yeah, but it's just for this beat.
So, in other words, I would go straight from Dell saying, "Why couldn't I see the signs?"
To
Like
Kyle in the skybox.
I would flop these scenes for now. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. I don't even know if that's where it goes right, but oh no, wait. Let me put it after the whole skybox sequence, and then I don't even know if that's right, but I just transposed that scene down below.
Yeah, you want to do it after the skybox sequence.
Yeah,
because there's a few. Because then I start planting that he's in trouble as well.
So do you want to read 34, 35, 36? The new
Actually, that's
34, 35, 36?
You know what? That's much better from just a tension building standpoint, because we already know Kyle is tense, and then we're dropping some more tension in his arc, but that's expected. Yeah. But then to after do that, show the tension of someone we didn't expect would be tense, a little girl on the field, then it's like, all right, well now this is getting way too fucking yeah. I like that, because otherwise it's just like, here's a scene with a little girl, and then let's go back to the show.
We could also have a puppy right by a big like intake propeller, and the puppy is fiddling with the button that turns it on because he doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
Just to raise tension.
By the way, I watched
and then just long shots of a baby falling.
Yeah.
And you don't know what space it's in. It's just falling. Is it going to hit the ground? What's going on with this baby?
Is it eternal?
Is it in danger?
In danger. And then slowly later, a mother is dropped. And they're always out of reach because of maximum velocity. By the way, I watched Into the Spider-Verse.
Isn't it just beautiful as a work of art?
it's good for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
I actually was walking into it going like, all right, I'm gonna fucking. I know that I'm probably not gonna like this as much as everyone's been hyping it because it's been so hyped. Yeah, because I was like, you know what, and also the fact that it's like, of course, everyone's singing praises on like Twitter. It's like it represents everything that is like, let's fight the system kind of thing. Right. And I was like, I bet I'm gonna get spoonfuls of that, and I don't love that as a thing of like how society does that. And then I went in and I was like, you know what? I'm still going to watch it clean though, because, you know, like every movie deserves that. And I fucking loved it. It's a fucking great movie.
It is. And then you're like a little bit in, I think if you're you or me, because we would think the same about this because we're snobs, you'll be like, oh, it's good. Okay, wow. So I bet it's going to hit on this level, that level, and that level. Mm-hmm. I'm sure the plot will still be Marvel bullshit. And then 2/3 the way through, you're like,
exactly.
Actually, even the plot structure and dialogue is head and shoulders above 90% of the other Marvel movies.
Yeah, head and shoulders. And very like, good. I don't know why I thought of it, but the fucking best bit I've seen in a movie in like a long time is Porky Pig is so fucking choice of when they use him and when they don't use him. So perfect. It's like a masterclass in comic relief.
Well, they did, right, because he could easily ruin the whole movie, I think, if
right,
you overused
right.
him at all. You know, they started with way more Spider-Ham jokes, and they kept cutting them and cutting them and cutting them.
And it just shows. Like, okay. It just shows how good the editorial process was on that.
Yeah, because originally in that scene where they're all crying, and it actually is The Dark Knight of the Soul, Spider-Ham had a comic relief version, which was that his Uncle Ben died by burning alive. And the shot is him standing there smelling and being like, bacon. It's actually, he smells pretty good burning alive. And they were like, it's a funny joke, but it's just not right for the emotional tone of that sequence.
Like right now, it just takes me out of that moment. Yeah. Yeah, that was great. And I'm probably going to watch it again soon just because I want to take a stopwatch to it.
I really want to watch it on acid. Very particular.
Oh, yeah. And then on top of everything else, it's a gorgeous
if you're a fan of animation and art and design, it's actually like filled with legitimate comic art, which is not true of any of the Marvel movies because they're live action.
Everyone pulled out the first moment because emotionally it so resonates. Like the first moment he puts on his new suit and they have the thing where the track plays and he's like falling and it says like woo in like the like negative space of the city, and like they were lauding that as like one of the greatest sequences. And I was like, it's got like 2 or 3. It's like it's good. It's got like 2 or 3 really strong like smart ideas behind it. Mm-hmm. But if you go and watch the sequence where he's running away from his uncle after like the battle with Doc Ock in Aunt May's house, and like how it's like starting the engine, like the way it makes it seem like it's a comic book and also a movie at the same time, and the ways in which they accomplish that is like, holy shit, someone just studied every single comic ever made and found at any time that they
distilled the common techniques and things
to blend frame or time in a unique way.
They used an animated visual reference that is always in itself a reference to a time technique in comics.
Live action.
Right.
Yeah. And when I watched that, I was like, I actually stopped. Oh fuck! Which I haven't done in a movie in a long time. Anyway, I did not expect that I was gonna like this movie so soon into. I guess it was 2018, but I only watched it. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, let's at least get the skybox sequence.
Yeah.
3. If you're on the stream, it's now 34, but where we are. Start where.
Should I read? 34?
I would say read all the way through those 3, that make the skybox sequence.
Yep. Okay. Skybox Day. Kyle's now inside of one of the stadium's only skybox upper level. The storm has calmed a bit. The clouds surround the stadium. But in the eye of the storm, calm sunlight basts down on the skybox. There, Kyle takes a small rearview mirror, seemingly ripped from a vehicle. He's using it to reflect light into the faces of the townspeople. Well, that's just a bunch of clunky sentences. His gaze bounces between his targets and the FEMA group. just checking to see if they notice. He hears something in the corridor near the skybox. Corridor day. Kyle peeks his head out of the skybox door. He hears something distant voices. He pauses and stealthily shuts the door. Skybox day. Kyle returns to his mirror. This time noticing Raleigh looking up near the skybox. The boy is looking towards the heavens, closing his eyes as the sunlight warms his face. Kyle reflects a beam of light on the boy's eyelids. He opens them.
So
keep going.
Sequence is I don't think so, right? Oh yeah. No, keep going. One more. No. 2 more.
It's
two
yeah.
More. Go 2 more.
2 more. Football field day. So with Raleigh now. Kyle gives 3 pulses once Raleigh is noticed. Raleigh does a double take as it dawns on him that someone is in the skybox. Skybox day. Kyle, come on, boy. Kyle moves the highlight from Raleigh to Dell and Marlene. Kyle, come on. So this is him just trying. Come on.
Come on, boy. That's a good boy.
Come on. That's a good boy.
Lick the peanut butter off.
He's like, oh, that kid is seeing me. Try that kid.
We're going from
get their attention.
To get Marlene's attention. Oh no, I can't. And
boy, help me.
And people are approaching, so I have to come up with a secondary plan. I'll get this kid's attention. Several things just for consistency between the sequences. I don't know about the beam of sunlight, or you're making it because otherwise he wouldn't be able to reflect light, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's leave that in, but I would also want to reiterate that it's really cold because it becomes a plot point that it's too cold to keep everyone out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And even after the storm settles, that it's like really fucking cold, which is why people aren't like eager to be in that area, and ultimately why they move them to the locker rooms. So I want to say it's cold, and I still want to keep Kyle deaf. So can we think of another way that he detects people are approaching?
Oh yeah, that's a great. Let's just do light show, because, and by that I mean like let's play games with light because that's already what the thing is about. So I immediately think we can plant and pay off is that he has the door ajar, but because he's deaf, he knows that he can't hear people walking up. So he has the door ajar and he puts a mirror that's
so he snapped both off
down the hallway.
Yeah,
down the hallway, so that every now and then he can check to see if someone's coming down the hallway.
And to buy him a little time, I think it should be that in this scene, he looks at it and he sees that they're going down the hallway checking room by room. So he still has like a few doors worth of time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were... Yeah. Okay. So
and then the question comes, is that now that this is like kind of a bit with like because I just threw it out there as like an offhand, like, I don't know, just a mirror is what he needs. He can't use one of what do you call them? The Mylar blankets, because that would reflect in too many directions. He needs a very pointed, specific thing. Light, and I thought a mirror. It might be one of those things where we planned earlier, where it's just we see, like, if I was directing this, it could be as equivalent as he exits frame and we dolly up towards like a sports stadium go-kart, and both of the mirrors have been like ripped off. Is that the kind of thing that we want to do, is to show where he got these now, because then now they're intrinsic to 2 different threads in this sequence. Reflecting light. Yeah.
I wouldn't have him, because I don't want to lose that scene where Dill says, "Why couldn't I see the signs?" and he's already shining light on him. So he has to do it before then. So, but maybe like
he would already have it.
If you wanted to, we would add it to the 32. So if you go up to 32, he would look at the vent. We could almost make it a Pulp Fiction joke if we can think of a third thing. He looks at the air vent and he goes, "That doesn't work." And, I can't think of something better, but the Simpsons joke would be, he sees a bicycle, but it's chained up, and then he sees the golf cart, and he leaves in the golf cart.
I think it might be good.
Like, it could be funny if we could think of a middle thing, and the golf cart is the final one.
Yeah. I actually really like it because it's also a scene where we're acknowledging, how did they solve this problem in Die Hard? A vent. Well, we're not going to do the vent, so here's our solution. like as like a scene.
Yeah.
For
So what would believably be like
the bicycle.
a bird scooter? Someone left, but he can't log in because he doesn't have
I mean,
a bird account.
the best iteration of a joke is this idea of transit or getting people to know things by traversing. I mean, it's tough because the vent. So the way that John McClane uses the vent is so that he can get information to Holly, but also to
Escape at
like
any given time.
lure
Move
one
from
by
floor
one.
to floor. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more of just a mechanism of progressing the plot forward. That's all it is. So what's another famous movie kind of like this?
I
And
mean,
then
tropes like that would be like they use the sewers to get from one place to another. But obviously there wouldn't be a manhole cover
but it
inside the
doesn't.
stadium.
Yeah, that's exactly
I'm
what
just
the type of thing.
brainstorming.
No, because like
Yeah.
we just chose Skybox, which is kind of like a vent.
An MIB thing
Up
would
top.
be like repelling. Like, what if he tried to? No. Oh, what if he sees a stairwell that's like a fire escape that leads up to the catwalks, and you immediately think, oh, the catwalks with all the lighting rigs that overlooks the whole stadium. That's gonna be great. And then he gets there and it's just locked. Like there's no way to get up there.
Oh, that's funny.
Give up on that.
Also, his leg is all fucked up. Like.
Oh, that's even funnier. Okay, so it's not locked, but he looks up and it's like a dizzying thing of metal
and then he looks at
his leg wound, and then we just smash cut to him in the golf cart instead, going down the hallway.
Yeah, just going
That's
to town
funny
on
to me.
Stairs. I like that.
Pedal to the metal on the golf cart.
Plus, it's consistent with just like we are always thinking of ways to harm him, but we're not thinking of enough ways to feel that he's being harmed. Is something I want to address, and this does that, so that's great. It's one thing to be a Superman who gets shot all the time and it's like, oh, I'm hurt. But it's another thing of like, I literally can't climb up there. Why? Because my hand is fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Down at the stab wound in his leg.
How big is the story?
10 feet. Think we could get away with more than 6? I'm trying to keep it believable.
No, I think 60 feet is about right then.
That's what I was thinking, because I want to say like 15 stories, but then it's like, why is the stadium that tall? There's no reason.
Yeah, it wouldn't need to be.
Yeah. And then to encourage it being a smash cut, I'd like to do interior hallway later.
Encourage it what?
If you're okay with it.
I am okay with it. I followed along.
Okay. Just bleeding freely. He looks around yet again, spots something off camera. I'll fix that later. I know that's a clunky thing to say in a screenplay. Spots something off camera and grins. Interior hallway later. Kyle jams down the hallway in a coach's. They're usually for the coaching staff, right?
Yeah, I want to see if they have an official name.
Staff cart. Obviously, we shouldn't call it a golf cart because it's a.
It's not a golf cart. And it's not a go kart.
It's a staff cart, electric cart. Just.
Yeah, what the fuck do we call those?
I'm gonna say just in a little electric cart used by staff. So I like the mystery of him in this shot just knocking one of the side few mirrors off, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, why do you do that? And then of course you find out. Okay, cool. So that is now scene 33.
So now, yeah.
Then we
So
hop
now
down in 34. We already polished.
go to the skybox sequence.
So now Kyle is inside the stadium's only skybox on the upper level. Although the field is freezing cold, the storm itself has calmed out a bit. Clouds surround the stadium, but in the eye of the storm, calm sunlight shines down on the skybox. I'm going to add if only for a moment, because that makes it seem like the clouds could shift at any time, and he's got to get this shit done fast. There, Kyle takes a small rear-view mirror, seemingly ripped from... I don't even think we need to say that now, because we made it explicit, right?
I think we should say, well, actually, that happens. That will be 36. It's just that he has another mirror.
Right.
But yeah, this one is fine.
Kyle takes his small side view mirror, comma, and uses it to reflect light. Reflect the patchy sunlight onto the faces of townspeople. He hones in on Dell and Marlene, still talking. His gaze bounces between his targets and the FEMA group, just checking to see if they notice. So now you would want to add, he glances over his shoulder at the other side view mirror, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you cut 36 as a new scene.
Right.
Just
okay.
delete all of that.
Checking the second mirror, which he placed just outside the door to the skybox.
So you can see.
Using the reflection. Yeah, prisoners do this to talk to each other in adjacent jail cells. Using the reflection, he can see down the length of the hall. Oh, that reminds me, because we're doing it, and that's the whole reason we're changing things, we should explicitly mention he still can't hear.
Yes.
Where do you think that mention should go? Top of 35 or in the midst of 35?
I think it's when I think the best part is that it's retroactive, because I like that we focus on the mirror stuff. And then so now I guess it's a longer hallway or something like they're
that's why I said maybe they're
checking he can see the FEMA from afar.
Yeah.
And it say something along the lines of he sees them open like a distant door, even though he can't hear it, or something like that.
And they're gonna check each one, so he has a little bit of
That's what I would do. Okay. If just because otherwise it feels apropos of nothing to mention it anywhere else.
Okay. 2 FEMA thugs are approaching, checking each door in sequence. He still can't hear. In the aftermath of the flashbangs. So he continuously checks and rechecks their approach, while also trying to get the attention of someone below. And then we delete the little mini scene. And that seems that. I'm going to scroll down because you're probably cut off. I'm also going to delete the slug for 37 because this becomes one scene now.
Yep.
Finally, Kyle notices, or let's say just then, because we like that.
Yeah.
Kyle notices Raleigh looking up near the skybox. The boy is looking towards the heavens, closing his eyes as the sunlight warms his face. Kyle, can I say redirects instead of reflects? I think that's clear.
Yes.
Redirects the beam of light.
Do you think it's clear enough off the page that he's like hand holding it, or does that need to be specific?
On to, but in the eye of the storm. Okay, there. Kyle holds the small rear view mirror and uses it to reflect. Yeah, I added it back up.
Just for clarity, because this is, I want everything to be so crystal clear, because this is like kind of a mental.
It's a silent sequence.
Jigsaw puzzle. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh no, we cut down to the football field to be with Raleigh, right? So Kyle gives 3 pulses once Raleigh is noticed. Raleigh does a double take as it dawns on him that someone is in the skybox. That should still be as is. Back to
Unless
Kyle.
you have any notes on it.
I don't. Kyle moves the highlight from Raleigh to Della Marlene. Okay, so here's where I think we should change it again, maybe.
Come on, boy.
No, I'm actually okay with come on, boy, come on. But I'm saying once he gets the kid's attention.
Right, we want to ingrain like the thinking of the kid a little bit more.
We wanted to have him realize, well, look, if Della and Marlene aren't going to look up here in the next 15 seconds, then I just got to go with this kid because I got his attention and hope that it works.
Yep.
So basically this next bit is for Raleigh on the field to realize that the pattern is, oh, that's Morse code, that pattern. Dots and dashes. He must be trying to do Morse code.
So that he can know to turn to his...
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that is lost on if Raleigh knows that his sister knows Morse code, as opposed to it being a surprise when Adelaide says later, as I scripted originally, Adelaide was like, I know Morse code. Like, and he's like, really? Yeah, Girl Scouts. And then it's a callback of like, why does Adelaide know? Like, I think there's a line from Del and Marlene. Why does she know that the thing, Morse code, Girl Scouts? And then Kyle says fucking Girl Scouts, because he's a Boy Scout later, so he knows that she's in Girl Scouts. So it's like this 3-beat thing where they all realize Girl Scouts is what saved them.
And that's the joke that I think is too silly for this sequence.
Got it.
And personally, I don't need any or that. That's the one thing that I said is funny, but I think the cost-benefit analysis, unless you want, unless you really love it,
you don't like. You don't want a joke there, or you think it's specifically too jokey to go here.
No, I just think that the beat I don't like, because it forces us to cut to Marlene and Del going, I know we're in the middle of a really tense situation, but now let's you and me talk like Abbott and Costello for a second. And I think that's weird in this sequence, because before and after that moment, Marlene and Del are like in action world. Whereas I think the kids could be funny. I didn't want Marlene and Del to be the source of the joke, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right now. Not that jokes can't bank off of them otherwise.
Even though they're not doing anything right now. Del and Marlene aren't doing anything.
Well, that's what I think what would happen.
It's like a red herring.
Well, what they're right. It's a red herring in the sense that if he immediately signaled a kid, you'd be like, why didn't he choose an adult that he knows? This is just showing him trying some, the hero has to try multiple tactics, some fail. And
this one, out of necessity, he's just like, this is what is in front of me.
Kid and hope that they're competent. Yeah.
I agree I like that as like a thing. I'm just pointing out that it kind of, it puts us on a train now where we don't have the Girl Scouts bit.
Yes, and I'm saying I was always okay with that anyway.
Right. Unless we wanted to just offhandedly comment.
I still think
that Adelaide, why do you know Morse code?
Right.
Like, no one is there to ask Adelaide other than their brother, who already knows why she knows Morse code.
I like the bit. What I don't like is that you packaged it in the Coen echolalia way, and I don't think this is the right time for that.
Got it.
That exact execution of comedy.
I understand.
Yeah.
Let's lose it. Babies, throwing the babies into the mulcher.
Okay, but let's just cut to that happening.
Yeah.
No, I mean babies going into a mulcher.
Yeah, I'll cut to that.
I still don't know. I think I want to make a note of it so we don't forget. We had talked about adding a scene where, you know, you cut outside and see why the cops aren't here, but I don't know exactly where it should go. I'm just making a note generally that at some point we'll want to do that. Add a scene where we see FEMA guys misdirecting local authorities.
Okay. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, so it could be. So here's my question, because what makes sense based on the track we're on would be Raleigh notices, Raleigh realizes it's Morse code, Raleigh throws cards to try and get Marlene's attention, can't, so he settles for his sister because she's in the next cot over. So again, it's kind of funny that like Kyle wanted an adult, but he could only get a kid. This kid wanted Marlene, but he could only get his little sister. Mm-hmm. And then my only question about that is, because Raleigh's alone, you're right that before you had her crawl over early, and I suspect the reason you did that functionally is so that there can be two characters, so that someone can say what's going on, and he can say to the audience, someone's shining a light, I think it's Morse code.
Yes.
My question is if he does this all in silence, are we counting on the audience to be too smart? I would get it, and I would enjoy that it happened in silence, and you're just
without the acknowledgement of it.
Like, I would like that. I just I mean, you know, Breaking Bad all the time had sequences where a character silently builds something or does something, and the whole game of the sequence is by the end of the sequence, you have to be pretty smart to go, oh, he's doing that because he's going to look through the guy's garbage later and cover that or whatever, you know?
I agree. I think that I've always been taught that the way to do that best is on the script in the across the page, be mind-numbingly clear and just outright say what you're trying to accomplish, and then just don't script any lines. So we can do that.
Okay.
As long as we're fine with writing stuff like in the across the page, like Raleigh has no one around it, or like Raleigh realizes that this is how things have to proceed from here on in, you know, like that, those kinds of lines, which are usually no-nos, but I'm fine with them being.
Okay, so you'll definitely need to look at the stream because it's going to get crazy here for a second.
Yeah.
And I'm not writing anything, I'm just adding, copy and pasting stuff around.
Tetris, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking teamwork. One L in Raleigh.
Not the city.
I think it's one L in the city as well.
Isn't that a capital of a state?
Virginia?
North Carolina, I think. Raleigh.
Yeah, Charlotte.
You're right. It's one L in Raleigh, North Carolina as well.
Mm-hmm.
Raleigh Bush.
Raleigh Bush.
So my question is if there's any way to build the tension right here that I have highlighted, because basically what happens next is Raleigh in his brain realizes, oh, it's Morse code. Should we put in some across the page where it's like Raleigh has to pretend that he's not staring at the light because a guard is checking him out, something like that? Or maybe the beam of light through the clouds shifts and he has to move over to stay in it, something like that.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool.
And then a FEMA guy looks at him suspiciously because a kid is slowly moving.
I like
You know
that a
what I
lot.
mean? There's a
I
kid
like
who's
that.
slowly moving to the
Yeah,
side.
because it's not just like being covert. It's like I literally have to be somewhere where they told me just a second ago I can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Raleigh notices that the light is flashing in some kind of pattern, but is at a loss as to what Kyle wants. Soon, the beam of light piercing the clouds starts to shift directions, and Raleigh has to slowly is better, sorry, slowly move closer and closer to the border between his numbered section and the next. FEMA 11 is actually 5. FEMA 5 stands on the border and raises an eyebrow at the kid's strange behavior. Okay, pitch. I think Raleigh should look at him, and to excuse the behavior, say, the nurse told me to walk around because of my splint.
Oh.
Good payoff for why it's this kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. That's clever.
Raleigh.
Because I was just gonna ask. I was like, why does I get why Adelaide gets a free pass, but why would Raleigh get a free pass? And that answers that. Because Kyle's running out of time. He's fighting the clouds, and he's fighting these men.
Okay, so Raleigh, is it really okay for us to just say Raleigh realizes that it's Morse code?
Yeah, I think...
Even though it's internal, how can a director accomplish that in film form?
That's why it's a no-no.
Right.
But the payoff is that we don't have anyone... You argue that you still get it.
Squints up at Kyle's light.
What's
trying...
a way to say that without outright
saying...
Right,
like what I would say in a novel is trying desperately to rack his brain, and then it hits him. Morse code! But if you write that in a movie, any good director will go, what do you mean? That's not a shot. Like, yeah, I can't shoot inside his mind. But I mean, if we're okay with there being mystery until you retroactively understand, it could just be Raleigh suddenly has a moment of inspiration. He starts to throw cards at his sister. Or at Marlene.
Yeah. I think that's probably a good way. And then just pay it forward to when he's like saying, like, you know Morse code, right? You know,
right.
like...
Have her... Yeah. Suddenly, inspiration hits. He... Yep. He spots his... Now I'm going to seem with the old stuff you already had there. He spots his sister's plastic box still on the ground from when FEMA 10 should be FEMA 4. FEMA 4 dumped out his bag. One of the anime cards sticks out of the blades of grass. Can I say AstroTurf?
Yeah.
To remind people, no, they're not outside. They're still in the stadium. We're just mentioning grass because it's a stadium, yeah. Just clearer. He grabs it. He looks at Marlene talking 2 sections over and flicks the card over toward them. I think it's clearer. Just as FEMA 4 No, you're right. That should be 5. FEMA 5 turns his back, soars through the air, but lands just short of Marlene's leg. He tries twice more. I'm just doing general tension building, right? He tries twice more, but then the crowd shifts to block his shot, and he has to hastily hide the cards when FEMA 5 scans his area again. Giving up on hitting Marlene, Raleigh instead throws cards at his sister Adelaide, who's, what would you say, like, is she napping in the next section over, or?
Well, she was, yeah, I mean, now we haven't even met her yet.
Okay, oh, okay, gotcha. Adelaide, who's lying with her eyes closed, one section over.
Or we've met her, but it was just for the pills thing.
Yeah.
So we know her. I guess she could. I mean, I just don't get her. I don't see how she is not with her brother or going to her brother, since that's the only people they know here in the city.
Well, because I thought it was because they arbitrarily separated them, which is why he has to ask the guard to give asthma inhaler.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be like, because it's not run well, they're just like, from here to here, you guys are section 4. And
yeah,
but that splits up the siblings.
Right now.
Like, shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, why? Hold on, let me just finish my transit. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So she could be anywhere. What do you think is best?
I think she should be closer than Marlene and Dell, because that's why he fails to get Marlene's attention and decides, then my only chance is Adelaide because she's close.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she should be sleeping, because 10 minutes ago there was gunfire.
Yeah. That's okay. I don't think she's sleeping. Let's just say lying in the ground.
I do like that she doesn't quite understand what's going on, other than people don't like it, and she's like, fuck. Yeah. This is kind of tense.
Shakes her head furiously and indicates FEMA 5 between them. He gives her a look that tells her this is serious, and no, just period.
A few things before you proceed, just because I know.
This should be one scene now, right?
Yeah, but scroll back up. There's just little tiny errors that.
Yes, sure.
Because giving up on hitting Marlene instead of giving on hitting Marlene.
Let me go all the way to the top.
I think people could.
Okay.
Like understand that, but if not, that kind of.
Is this? Did I scroll up too far?
No. Well, yeah, this is all good, I think.
Okay.
Keep going down. When Ellen Raleigh, desperately, right under FEMA 5's eyeballs, Raleigh's legs, and seems satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Goes back to guard mode desperately. Yeah, those ones are fine. The one I cared about is giving up on Marlene, which is in, because otherwise we don't know why he moves on.
Okay, so what do you want to say? Well, yeah, or I tried to say he moves on because the crab shifts to block his shot, and then FEMA 5 looks at him, and he's like, oh shit, I gotta try something else.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Oh, you were saying up, right.
Up, just so that people is clear what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's all.
Moves cards at his sister Adelaide is lying in the grass one section over. After a couple cards to the head, she spots
Yeah.
Raleigh, who urges her to come over to him. She shakes
Also,
her...
is subtly not a word?
Yeah, it is.
How do you spell it?
Where is it?
I think you replaced it with other stuff. Yeah, but it's just
Subtly. Subtly.
Okay. I think I added an E there for some reason. Anyway, I thought I had been going crazy.
Subtlety would be E-T-Y at the end.
E-T-Y, yeah. Okay.
He gives her a look that tells her this is serious. Slowly, carefully, with an eye on FEMA 5. Mm-hmm. 5 or 4? Who's between them? 5. Adelaide crawls on the ground through the standing section of townspeople. Cutting this because it's already set up. She slowly closes the gap of distance between those seated and unseated. FEMA 5 notices, hey. Adelaide freezes. Thanks for your service, little girl. Slowly looks to FEMA 5. There's a brief pause, and then he winks at her, takes out some gum, and starts to chew it. He turns the other way. Adelaide finishes her crawl and plops her head under her brother Raleigh's lap. He strokes her hair. I don't need the old woman. Yep. Oh, she shouldn't even... He's not seated, so...
Mm-hmm.
Adelaide finishes her crawl and arrives next to Raleigh, 1L. Raleigh, who's focused on the flashing light again. He whispers to her. And then if you follow me, I'm just going to go straight to this guy is trying to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Cool. If you're still okay with it, I again lose Del and that whole scene.
Yep.
Oh, okay. See this scene? While coding a sequence, Morse Kyle notices Del and Marlene shrug from afar. Shit. I think we might want to transpose that up above, just to help make it clear to the audience he's giving up on this idea, because that's what you're obviously doing with that beat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think there's any advantage whatsoever about... Because there's so much that people don't know about other people, like the assumptions that Kyle's making versus the assumptions... Like, he's doing things on a necessity, but it's true that he was trying to do Morse code or get the attention of Marlene and Del. So are they just out for the whole scene now?
I think they are, because I think the gentle implication is that during that dialogue scene that was unfolding...
But, like, how does...
Like, they're still talking about Del's emotional problems while all this is happening, you know?
So how does... so we now need a device for how Kyle understands that Adelaide or Raleigh know Morse code.
Yes.
That we have erased that, is all I'm saying, by losing them, which is fine.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I think it can be fixed. But still, totally. But first I'm taking this beat you had and putting it back where it goes now that the timing of everything is different.
Yeah.
While also trying to get the attention of Del and Marlene below, they still seem locked in an intimate conversation, and Marlene actually swats the light away, absent-mindedly, and then Kyle says shit. Yeah, Kyle notices Raleigh looking up near the skybox, so he goes, I'll try that kit, yeah.
Yep.
Opens his eyes is better. Okay, so now back down to the bridge we have to burn that you were just describing. This guy is trying to say something, so the simple way would just eliminate the jokiness of it, which, as I said, I am for. I think Raleigh should just go, this guy's trying to say something, don't you know Morse code? Or Adelaide would say, what's he saying? And he goes, I don't know, like ... Like that.
I like that.
And then she would go, that's Morse code.
Adelaide
and he'd
thinks
go, how
everyone
do you know
knows
Morse code? And she'd go, Girl Scouts.
Yeah. Why did he get her attention then if he doesn't know that she's going to be helpful in this?
Right, which is why I think we should sacrifice the joke on the altar of
Yeah,
Raleigh just going, "Don't you know Morse code? That's why I called you over here."
exactly. That's
Okay,
I thought that was, what we're doing.
cool. This guy is trying to say something. Should he say, "I think it's that guy"? Like, I think it's the Kyle guy? Or does that go without saying?
I kind of like this guy is trying to say something
Me
because
too.
yeah, I think we know why. And I don't
Okay.
need to say why if we both agree.
Should I say something? So then I'd have him just say, "Don't you know Morse code?"
Yeah.
Adelaide should just say, "Yep, girl, yeah, Girl Scouts." And then Raleigh could say like,
Well, remember she's 6, so she doesn't speak like normal people. Like, so
"So what about
don't you
just
know Morse code?
Girl Scouts?"
Yeah, yeah, and I also know how to cook, like tortillas because of Girl Scouts or something like. It would be like she would misdiagnose why he's asking the question. Like, I think it's cute if he asks her that question and then her response is, yes, and here are other things about my day. Because that's how kind of like 4 to 6 year olds talk.
Yeah, there's something else I want to insert first. Oh no, after, because he grabbed her anime cards from the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when he says take this down, he should hand her the anime card and a crayon or whatever.
Oh, also I remember there's some place where you said I had made it a single card, but you made it cards. Doesn't matter to me.
So
I think
that he
cards
can
is
throw
fine.
a few
So he can
and
throw
then
multiple.
write on
But
one.
now there's an inconsistency in the language. If you go up to that block where it says he grabs a card, just make it he grabs the few cards or whatever. Just before we forget.
Yeah. The deck of anime cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Poison.
Perfect. But yeah, what were you saying about you had an idea for the Girl Scout line?
No, I was just realizing that when he says here, write this down, he should hand her an anime card and a crayon. That's the rules they use. That's all.
Exactly.
She whispers to her, "You guys trying to say something? Don't you know Girl Scouts? We learn." I think there's another term when you're that young. It might be called like ladybug.
Term when you what?
Young.
Brownies.
Girl Scouts, brownies. Brownies works. Grade levels. Yep, under 10 is called brownies. So, she should say brownies.
Yeah.
At brownies, we learned lots of codes. Morse code, flag code, smoke code. How about that? Then he interrupts her.
I don't know what flag and. Do you mean like semaphore?
Yeah, semaphore and smoke signals. But she doesn't.
I don't think they teach kids that.
But what you wanted to say other stuff. So what else do they learn?
I think it's funny. Talk about what else? Oh yeah, what else do they teach? What do they learn in? Shit. That's because now it's not Girl Scouts. Now it's brownies.
Brownies learn semaphore according to Google. So flag code words.
Flag code words.
Flag code. What's another? Or it doesn't have to be code. She could say Morse code, flag code, how to make a bear not eat your food. Just a third thing that's funny. What would it be? How to put out a fire right so it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
How to set up a tent with just a string. Call it, man. What's funny and true?
I also have a badge.
Morse code, flag code. I got
I'm trying.
Badge for.
I'm trying. I'm just on the Girl Scouts site, so. Brownie topics. Oh, that's fucking dope. They're starting to teach girls STEM. They first aid. They do basic first aid, dancing, computer expert. There's one called Household Elf, which
I would just have him say like Morse code, flag code, dancing, computer expert badge. Like, you know what I mean? That's funny to me.
You broke up. Sorry. Just dancing?
No. Morse code. What about Morse code, dancing, computer expert badge? Like, she doesn't even use grammar, properly.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you guys learn? We learned Morse code, dancing, computer expert badge. You're like, no, you earned a computer expert badge.
I like the cat. I like the cat on the badge for making friends.
Is that a real badge?
Yeah, it's a real badge.
Nice.
They have triangle badges that are like equivalent to the ovals that Boy Scouts get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that it's a smorgasbord of things that she's just recalling from Girl Scouts.
Okay, I think to make it clear, he should actually start saying dot dash dot dot dash, So we should look up Morse code for MEET so that it's accurate. Because because the message actually says meet at concession stand.
Yep, I got it.
You got Morse code up so you can dictate it to me? Yeah, what's MEE in Morse code?
M is 2 dashes.
Okay, what's E?
E is just a dot. So 2 dash space dot space dash is T. T is just a single dash.
Cool. Dash dash space dot space dash. Okay. And then the scene can transition away. And then the guys should start. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. So yeah, we should cut back to Kyle.
Kyle, yeah.
But I actually have to go, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
It's all right. It's all right.
I still don't have. If you're listening, stream people. New episode of Family Meeting will come out late tonight. And are you still planning to have Coen Brothers for tomorrow?
I am indeed. That's what I was going to do after this. My only question for you is, where were we to put the movie stuff?
I think we should put the house ad at the top of the episode and the movie ad at the midpoint. What do you think?
You said top of the episode and midpoint?
I thought our house ad could be top of the episode and the movie ad could be midpoint.
They didn't give us, so it can be literally.
No, theirs has to be midpoint. It's a mid-roll.
Okay. Okay. So I'll have to find a time. And all you need from me is the time code of when.
So I can tell them.
The house ad. And then just the MP3 is all you need, right? For this one? We don't need to have 2 versions.
House ad at the top and the movie in the middle. Yeah. No 2 versions because movie is a real ad deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, people listening, we got an ad deal, but it only generates money if you use the special offer. So listen to tomorrow's Coen Brothers and you'll get more details on that.
Yeah, you'll get a discount and stuff.
That'll which one is it? Oh, Intolerable Cruelty.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, let's.
Oh. I have one more. I mean, we can turn off stream or whatever, but I had one question of keeping. But it doesn't matter.
No, go ahead if it's not private.
Yeah, it's not private. So I'm doing PCPD tomorrow. Do you think that we should try? You said you had a hard out at 3 on Friday?
Let me check. I think that changed.
Because if that changed, that would be a great time to get Lady Killers. Is to bundle up it with what Dinosaur Real Good. I'd rather go to your house once than twice.
But the thing is, what Dinosaur Real Good will... I don't really think I'll have the stamina to do
3 episodes.
I have a Tales from the Pit in the morning, and then What Dinosaur Real Good at noon, and then we have this stream again at 4, unless we bump the stream.
Okay. Yeah, it's not.
I still think we should just get Lady Killers next week sometime.
Yeah.
And add maybe No Country, you know.
Yeah. I just wanted to. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would say just keep not worrying about Lady Killers quite yet.
Yeah, you got it.
Also, I updated the calendar, so yeah, GoldenEye, Dead Space, and the Greg Burke Q&A are on there.
I updated PCPDs, so that's our...
After this month, because yeah, we're doing frame rates on the 2nd, What Dinosaur Real Good, and then on the 26th, I'm doing a bunch more Tales. So we're going to be like full to the rafters again, which is a good place to be.
Yeah, because we're getting pretty thin.
Well, we almost let the stockpile run out, but now we'll be back to being way ahead.
Yeah, I definitely think that even though sometimes we get excited about new stuff, I think we want to burn Burbs and UHF real quick, just because
they've been sitting around too long.
Yeah, I feel bad every time I like Teresa's came out, and I had a conversation with her, and she was like, "Oh, I thought that already came out. That was like months ago," and I was like, "I know."
And Bold episode 2 will come out next week too. So
yeah. Cool. Well, that's it for me.
Let's do a page check just because I like to.
Yeah, it's a good little... I don't think we had to make some... We had a side conversation.
It might have shortened this time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, thank you. We're on page 46. So last stream we got 12 pages. This time we only got 5, but that's how it goes sometimes. No problem. And now the script's total length is 85, so it stayed the same. So actually we added as much as we took out today.
Right. But now we're in the thick of it.
Yeah,
and I still don't think we've hit our midpoint personally, but I don't know. I don't know what midpoint means anymore.
I don't know what it means in this movie. I don't know very precisely what it means. Well, let me see. He's about to get in the skybox fight. You know what? Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. The midpoint is when he kills the 30-minute hostage. Because I think that changes the movie from... Before the movie, Kyle was an innocent with no blood on his hands fighting for the cause of good. After that point, Kyle made choices that allowed innocents to die, and the issue becomes infinitely more complicated.
Right. He didn't... The first kill, which was Townsperson 2, wasn't...
He had no control over. The midpoint is when he makes a choice that allows an innocent to die, and he's...
I always had the
feeling... I'm going to have to live with that choice. I
always had the feeling that Act 3 was going to balloon the most of the acts, and I think we should stick to that, because I think we're still... There's some sections of Act 2 I still think we might actually shorten, but I think we could add legitimately like 10 pages... like just to Act 3 with additional scenes of action.
And as I said, I still want the ops manager's speech about Puerto Rico and Flint, Michigan to come back later at some point. Just because it didn't happen in that one scene.
Right. Specifically, I'm not quite happy with our... Like, it feels like a big scene, like when he's like, all right, I'm now have you tied up his own stuff. But I feel like there should be like protracted fighting even more. Like, it feels like should be even bigger. I guess is all I'm
cut
saying.
Out again. Which
the final battle should be like...
Oh, yeah, bigger. I know. The final battle, I just said...
It should be dope.
Well, we were so close to the end of the rough draft. I really just wrote like... Del does this, that's the end of his arc. Priest does this, that's the end of his arc. You know? When it should be like described in obscene detail, actually, because it's the final fight.
Right, and there should legitimately be like a gun battle between the two of them. Yeah.
That's true. Before he gets captured, he should like chase ops manager around shooting.
Right, because we kind of with our little device with the crossbow thing, it's kind of like is over as soon as it starts, and it feels like, oh, that's kind of dope because that's like not usually how they end.
And it is realistic. Even a villain of the utmost logic, you only have to beat him once. If you beat him once and get him dead, he's dead.
He's dead. You win. And I like that, but it also means that we don't have typical scene where it's like John McClane is literally running after 2 minutes, 3
Yes, that's
minutes.
true. But FYI, people listening, spoiler alert, our hero
The hero wins.
our hero, I would say, only out strategizes the villain one time, but that one time melts the villain's face, so he wins.
Yeah, he wins. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Till next time.
Until next Friday, same time, 4 p.m.
Yep.
Pacific.
Bye, streamers. Bye, Abers.
Bye.
Have a good evening.